What is up? Welcome back to the NBA Rundown, brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. I'm your host, Astaire, joined today by Tyler Hicks. And how about this, man? I don't think we've talked since our last NFL show, Titletown. So we are definitely glad to have you back. How have things been with you?
Actually, I was on one show maybe a month, 2 months ago or something, which was the
Okay.
last time that I've talked. But other than that, yeah, it's
Yeah.
been all NFL, and yeah, I'm excited to hop on. Always love listening to these shows. Have a member from the RPS team. You guys have absolutely been crushing it. And yeah, excited to dive in. We got 9 games. Excited to pick some winners, talk some hoops with you boys.
All right. And Tyler, I'll be honest, I don't necessarily love the slate today. And we normally don't do stuff like this, but I got to ask, did you see that Oscar stuff last night, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, I could care less. You know how I am about all that, like actors and everything.
Oh, that kept me up because the timeline was so funny. I was trying to go to bed early last night, and there were so many memes and so many videos. Title, what did you think?
Yeah, I'm with Tyler. I mean, I'll let other people break that stuff down. I'll just laugh at my tweets.
All right. Well, my only thing I have to say is I don't think he would have done that if it was The Rock who said that and not Chris Rock. So that's my only contribution there. But I did want to go over some other stuff before we break down the games because we got terrible news last night as NBA fans. And I'm talking about another injury because once again, and I know we disagree on this, but I just think this season is too long. I don't want to see a war of attrition. There's a reason why all the World War II movies are about what's happening in the West and not in the East, where Russia, is just wearing down the Germans in that war of attrition. I'm not a big war of attrition guy. And I was so upset to see Robert Williams fall because he has been such a centerpiece for this Boston Celtics resurgence. They had made it all the way up to the top of the standings here, and now they lose a key player. Tyler, start with you. What do you think the loss of Robert Williams does to the Celtics?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to lose someone on the defensive end because now you're going to have to play Grant Williams in that starting spot and probably move Horford up and play him more minutes. Daniel Tice will probably get some rotation minutes too. So I think their defense takes a hit, but they'll still be one of them, top 5 teams in the East, I'd say.
Yeah, and We the People says the season is fine. Stop advocating for less bets in the NBA. We the People, come over to the tennis world. We are gambling on sports 24/7. They're playing in Spain right now, Miami. We'll get you the action here, but I want to see the best of the best. These teams limping in, right? Title, we got Robert Williams just went down. Steph Curry went down. John Morant went down. I mean, the West is looking a lot worse. But tell me about Boston. I mean, I know it's great for us because we root for the Bucks, right? But pretty rough for them. How much do you downgrade the Boston Celtics losing Robert Williams?
No, I mean, you definitely have to downgrade him a lot. And yes, I'm a big Bucks fan, of course, and cheer for that. But you always want to see teams beat the other team at their best. That's what you want in the NBA playoffs. Now, I'm not sure, like just shortening the season, like injuries they're inevitable, part of all sports. So I think the timing and stuff, the longer the season goes, the more it wears on your bodies, the more the injuries can go up. But I really don't know how much that would still prevent. It's just NBA. I mean, stuff's going to happen. I might be a little selfish. I'm kind of with We the People.
Yeah, I know we're opposite on this.
I don't know. But I agree. You want to see the best teams at healthy at the right times. Would shorten the season help with that? Yeah, probably a little bit. But who knows? Like a big star can get hurt anytime. And then it just all changes. And it doesn't matter how short or long the season is. But I'm with We the People. NBA is one of my favorite DFS sports. I'll take all the days I can have.
Yeah, and stuff like this is great for you guys, right? When these players are out of the lineup, it creates value, and it's guys like you that are monitoring these lineups that understands what happens to the Grizzlies when John Morant's out, right? It's easy to come on the show and say, "Hey, spend up for John Morant." Well, of course, right? I mean, he was money, right? Even at 11K, he was surpassing projections so many times. But the decisions, Desmond Bain or DeAnthony Melton, especially with the price points, right? How does Dylan Brooks usage, right? Jaren Jackson. I mean, so many moving pieces when these guys are out, and you guys are so good at exploiting that and being able to understand how it works. So I definitely understand both sides of the story there. But I would just got to just make my case, and this will be the last thing on it. The NBA will lose millions shorting it, and I disagree because guess what? The NFL has a bigger TV contract than the NBA. They play 17 games. Why? Because every single game matters. right? Everything matters. Week 1 matters. You don't want to take a loss in week 1. People are all upset. Here, I mean, it doesn't even matter until December, but we will stop on that. Overall, though, Title, I haven't talked to you for a little bit. Is there any other general thoughts you had for the NBA? Like, if you were to predict right now, who do you have coming out of the East and who do you have coming out of the West? Who do you predict for the finals? Because, hey, you and Tyler were pretty close there on the on the NFL. Let's see if we can do it again. Who do you got coming out of the East? Who's coming out of the West?
Yeah, I mean, the West, my thoughts hasn't really changed pretty much all year. I was all over the Suns last year early. Just this team just plays so well together. They're so deep. They're so well coached. They don't make mistakes. They make free throws. They're just a really hard team to beat in 7 games. And they have the guy in Devin Booker who can carry you as a superstar if you need. So I've been saying this the whole time. I really don't see teams beating the Suns in 7 games. Yeah, Grizzlies, the Warriors, blah, blah, blah. But I'm pretty confident in the West. As far as the East, man, the East is so wide. I mean, you're looking at the 9th seed, the Brooklyn Nets. That's arguably the scariest team. Like, as a Bucks fan, like, I don't want to see Kyrie and KD and they're the 9th seed right now. That's probably who I'm scared of most. The Celtics, man, they're playing great basketball. They play both ends. The Robert Williams injury, though, like if the Celtics and Nets somehow get matched up in round 1 and Time Lord isn't there or he's lingered or something, man, that would be crazy. So the East is wide open for sure. I think the Bucks are sitting right there. I'm not a believer in the Heat. I'm not a believer in the Bulls. Not a believer in the Raptors. It pretty much comes down to, I mean, yeah, the Celtics can. I still think it's really between the Bucks, the Nets, and the Sixers because you need that star power in the NBA. The Sixers I love, like Matisse Thybulle. They can run him out 35 minutes against your best player in a 7-game series and make that really tough. So, man, the East is really, really tough for me. I think it is between Bucks, 76ers, and Nets. And that's probably a hot take because there's so many good teams in the East. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of fan bases melting down because they all have finals expectations, and rightfully so. And someone's going to get bounced in the first round, like you said, that should be, their fans think should be in the finals. Quick interruption. Richie Smalls, you're just really trying to push my buttons today. Move the Kings. It's not our fault we have the worst owner. We built the arena. We show up to the games to watch the most craptastic product put out in the last 10 years. Don't take away our team. All right, Tyler, who do you got coming out of the East and the West? Since Title's here, I figure it'll bring the good mojo, and you're going to be able to give us a winning prediction.
And before we get to Tyler, I didn't make an official East pick. I'm going to have to go with the Bucks, of course. But
so you want the rematch?
I do.
Make it 2 for 2 then, because the more I look at it, Miami seems to be playing this game of they want nothing to do with the Nets. I mean, that 4-game losing streak comes out of nowhere when the Nets get into that 8 seed. So they're like, yeah, we don't want this 1 seed now. The Bucks, I mean, I think they could beat the Nets again. They did it last year. And I know everyone's going to say it was KD stepping on the line. But I think the Bucks have a better supporting unit this year, too. So I think they'll be able to beat them. And there's no one in the West touching Phoenix right now. So I think we're getting a rematch. And I think Phoenix has a lot better chance this year. They actually have some backup bigs that they can put on Giannis behind Ayton because you think last year all they had was Frank Kaminsky and he couldn't do much. So definitely like the Suns' chances this year more.
Yeah, I mean, Memphis, right? On paper, I think they have the roster to compete with Phoenix. I just worry about the experience, right? This isn't a Cincinnati Bengals situation where you're going to go from not playing a playoff game at all and make the Super Bowl. That doesn't happen in the NBA too often, right? We see these teams, they build up, they gain the experience, right? I mean, the Bulls, had to do it against the Pistons. The Warriors had that one run in 2014, 2015 under Mark Jackson. Then they come together with Kerr after getting some playoff experience. So while I do like the Grizzlies, like roster on paper and the way they match up, I think the experience is going to be tough. Title, one more question, and then we will get into tonight's game. So Bucks concerns, right? For me, missing PJ Tucker. How key was PJ Tucker in that series last year against Durant? He didn't stop him at all. Durant was putting up huge numbers, but he did make him work. And in that game 7, Steve Nash screwed that up too because he should have given him some rest. But he was dog tired going into that overtime. And even though Durant had huge numbers, he was so tired from the work that PJ Tucker made him put in. Flip side, you watch this team, to me, they look better than they were last year. But I'm worried about the loss of PJ Tucker. Do you think this Bucks team is better than it was last year?
No, I mean, I totally agree with you about the PJ Tucker. I was a huge PJ Tucker guy. He made the team go. And yeah, what KD, he got his, of course, as every single game. He had to work for every single bucket. PJ was in his grill. Like he had that dog mentality where now the Bucks, I think, learned a lot from him, starting with Giannis, and that carries down from Giannis below. You can tell they play with some fire. I wish they had Boogie and they didn't cut him, because he was another guy that played with fire that could give you little stints and mix things up. So that was another thing I thought they lost. I do think they just play better team basketball, and they're just another year after being a champion. They're more confident. Drew Holiday's playing phenomenal basketball. Middleton's always going to have to make shots. I believe Giannis is the best player, one of the best, of course, there is. So I still do think they're better. I think they learned from PJ Tucker, but I do agree with you. Like, that is tough. But then they get Javon Carter, who can pest you up and down the court when Drew Holiday's taking a break and stuff like that. Brook Lopez is now back. Some things like that. So I agree. I really wish PJ Tucker was there. You couldn't keep both Bobby and PJ, so I'm glad Bobby was the one, and he did take a pay cut for it. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. You can't replace the PJ Tucker in a series when you need him to play Kevin Durant every single game.
Yeah, I mean, great point though, right? Because I think Giannis is better than last year, right? So he's better, and he's the man. And I think if Holiday's not better as a player, he's better as a team leader. The way he's running the offense, he's getting the guys involved. He knows when Middleton's hot. He knows when he's not, right? Because that happens too with Chris Middleton, and he's not feeding him as much, right? Hey, you're having a bad game. Just go play some defense, grab some boards, right? We're not going to feed you anymore. And I think he's a little more comfortable in that role as well. So a lot of fun for the Milwaukee Bucks. And of course, we'll be looking forward to watching how the playoffs turn out. But first, we have the regular season to contend with. Why don't I have my bookmaker up? Excuse me, guys. I will pull it up. But I know that the first game is the Denver Nuggets and the Charlotte Hornets. The last I checked, the line was the Nuggets -3.5 on the road. Let me pull this up to grab the total here. As well. But I think this is an interesting matchup here. Hornets are quietly playing really well. I think they won 6 of their last 7 games, right? Not only that, they had a great win, 119-110 over the Brooklyn Nets last night. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a smash spot for Brooklyn, right? Kyrie's first game at home. He's going to be fired up. The Hornets played really well. One thing to say, though, right, is Andre Drummond, whatever, but the Nets really don't have the personnel to attack the Hornets where they're weakest, and that's in the paint. The Nuggets do, right? So interesting situation here. Let me pull this up. Okay, so Nuggets are still -3.5. Looks like the Hornets. Oh, yeah, the Hornets have taken a little money here. Might be moving to 4 here soon. 232.5 is the total. +132 for the Hornets on the money line here. I think this is a tough game to handicap. I personally think this is a really tough card to handicap overall here. I don't know, man. Charlotte's been playing so well. I kind of lean towards taking the Hornets, right? It's like the team versus Superman, and this is still a team game. Tyler, start with you. How are you approaching the Nuggets and the Hornets?
Yeah, I mean, it is a back-to-back for Charlotte. You look at their numbers in back-to-backs. They're the league worst 3-10 against the spread in back-to-backs this year.
Knowledge. Okay.
So that's one thing to look at when you're siding with Denver. Just like you said, Charlotte is playing better, though. 7-1 straight up in their last 8. But Denver on the road, 7-1 in their last 8 straight up. So it's going to be a good matchup. Brooklyn, just like you said, that didn't have the bigs to exploit the weakness of Charlotte. Well, now we have Jokic coming in here. He's going to absolutely feast on this team. His points plus rebounds on BetMGM is 40.5. It's -115. That's my favorite bet in this game. I also like his triple-double and win, like we the people said in the chat. And I like his double-double and win at -120 and win. And you could even play his 30-plus points and win if you like him to score a lot tonight. But I could definitely see him putting up a similar stat line like he did against them earlier in the year when he went from 24 to 21.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talk in the chat here about Jokic and how we approach it, right? So it seems like Jokic is the guy to target here, right? Points, rebounds, assists, just the points plus rebounds. So you settled in on points plus rebounds, huh, Tyler?
Yeah, I did. I think that's the way to do it just because I don't want to – I mean, you could do the triple-double too and get the better odds.
Yeah.
But I think there's no one that's going to stop him from rebounding the ball in Charlotte. And if he gives us 25 to 30 points, I think he's definitely going to clear that number of 40.5.
All right. Title, how do you approach this game?
Yeah, no, everything Tyler said, I agree with. I think Jokic absolutely dominates. Charlotte, it's a team that you like to pick on downside or down below. Jokic is the best one you can get. I just think he feasts. He gets other teammates involved. I think they cover the 3.5, but to make the number a little better, I think you take what Tyler said, the Jokic. You can take him a lot of different ways with his overs, and I think they do beat Charlotte. As far as DFS, Jokic is the best play. Raw points play on the slate, 12-2. We have injury news. It's March NBA, so if you want to play Jokic, you'll have the money to play him. He's going to be pretty popular, but I think it makes sense. If you want to run back in this game with close spread, pretty big total, I would go right back to LaMelo at 8-9 instead of trying to guess one of the other guys. He has some upside, man. The floor is a lot lower than you like to see, but he's not getting the ownership like he used to anymore. So he can come out. This game can be back and forth. 8-9 if you want a game stack, you'll have a salary to fill the rest of your roster out. And I like on big slates, pairing two studs in the same game on opposite teams, since it limits your player pool. There's so many other guys to choose from anyway on a big slate like this. Then if it's a close game, they get hot back and forth. There's a lot of upside. You can always run into overtime too. So Jokic is the only one I'm really caring about. I think LaMelo's fine in tournaments, but I do think Denver gets it done.
All right. And We the People's been pretty good about this one too. And Gary brought it up as well. So I got to ask you, Title. Let's say, you're really worried about the salary. You don't like the value tonight. You don't want to punt a spot. What do you think of running it back with Rozier instead of LaMelo? Because that's been working out well.
Yeah, I don't mind it. So what? Rozier's 7-6, 8-9. I don't mind it. I think it's fine. I know some people have been Rozier people. I've played more on the LaMelo side. I haven't played either really as much, but LaMelo used to be chalk in situations where the pivot was Rozier, and it was mainly for the ownership. I guess he's just been better most lately, but I still like LaMelo. Has the ball in his hand a lot. He has a triple-double point upside with the ceiling, so I lean there. But I don't think you need to go anyone on the Hornets, really. That's just tournaments if you're trying to get different as a run back.
All right. And our guy, Robert, always adding good stuff to the chat. He says Ball gets less minutes on back-to-back. So I might have to look that up, and confirm. But he's saying that Ball's getting 5 to 7 minutes less on the back-to-back. So that could be an interesting turn.
I'll definitely have to look in. They're sitting at the 8 seed right now, though. I feel like they get 37, 33, 38, 32, 30. Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder, how much of that was in, the beginning of the year and stuff, when his minutes were fluctuating more, whereas now they're trying to win. But that is interesting.
Yeah, definitely got to keep an eye on the standings for these next couple of weeks as the season ends up. Just like you just said, they're sitting 8. They're tied with the Nets at 8-9. They own that tiebreaker, though. They keep winning games, and the Cavs keep struggling. Yeah. And the Cavs keep struggling. They could jump up to 7. And then you look at the Western Conference, Nuggets are at 6, and Timberwolves are lurking at 7, only a game and a half back. If the Nuggets drop a few and the Timberwolves pick up a couple wins, now the Nuggets are back in that play-in spot. So these teams both need wins right here.
Yeah, and the Nuggets and Timberwolves play on Friday.
Looking at the standings, like Tyler said, we were talking on Monday or something about the Clippers before they announced Morris, Reggie, all these guys were having minutes limits the rest of the year. You can tell the teams that are about to close it up, especially with older guys. In DFS, you want to target studs, a Jokic. You need to know he's going to play the minutes, or LaMelo. I think a good point by Tyler.
All right. Anything more from this game, gentlemen, or you want to move on?
Move on.
All right. The Orlando Magic in Cleveland, right? We just talked about Cavaliers. Boy, talk about a team that needs a win. They've lost their last 3. They've lost 6 of their last 9. Is it correlated to Jared Allen being injured? I personally think so, right? Not too much of a surprise that they lose their center, their veteran, and the guy that just does everything that it takes for this team to win. I think Evan Mobley's great, but I think he benefited a lot, from having Allen out there with him here. But this is a great chance for this team to get back on track tonight with the Orlando Magic. They are tied with Houston Rockets for the worst record in the league. They've lost 2 in a row, 5 of their last 7. So they had that one little spurt, right, Tyler, where we liked them after the All-Star break for a couple weeks, but it seems like that has ended. One good news for them, though, is Wendell Carter's back, and he's meant a lot to this team as far as the results. I think that he really helps this Orlando team. I said Jared Allen's out, Rondo's out, Jalen Suggs out as well. I don't know how much that matters on the betting side because they absorbed the loss pretty well. But, of course, on the DFS side, that has implications. Tyler, I absolutely hate this number. I think the books did a great job. -9 is correct according to my numbers. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, ugly game. I think Cleveland wins. I don't think they cover, though. I think the number's a little bit too big. I'm not running to bet Orlando, though.
I know, right?
It's mostly going to stay away from this game. And then you look at player props. Point guards kill Orlando. They don't play much defense against point guards. So I like Garland's double-double. I like his points over. I like his threes over. And then centers have been killing them also. And Mobley does match up well with Carter. He's a little taller than him. And Carter isn't a really big guy, so he's not going to be able to muscle him around that much. So definitely like Mobley's double-double and him to score 22 and win. But outside of that, I'm staying away from this game.
I mean, this game was made for player performance doubles in my mind because I think the books did a great job on this line. Remember, this is brought to you by runpuresports.com. Promo code GetBets. Join it. Title. What do you think of the Cavaliers hosting the Magic?
No, I agree with you guys. The number seems right. I can't bet on Orlando team. One team wants to win, one team wants to lose. I cannot bet on the team that wants to lose, regardless of the number. I agree, 9's pretty hefty. And then you look at DFS. I think like the LeVert, Mobley, Garland. LeVert's only 5.6K, and he played 36 minutes last game, which is very interesting on draft. If he's 4.9 on FanDuel too, so 4.9 on FanDuel. 5.6 on DraftKings. LeVert's interesting in the game. I don't really love. Then I think you can play Mobley and Garland too. Prices are up a little. Mobley 7.7, power forward, center eligible. But yeah, he has upside. He's going to play 35 plus minutes, you think. And Garland, 10.3K is insane, but the price is warranted for what he's been doing recently. He's going to play all the minutes. He has upside. So if you want to get different, if you're not playing Jokic, you want to save 2K, get on a little different roster construction route. You can go Garland. LeVert's probably my favorite because of the price, and I'm not going to play anyone on Orlando.
All right, fading the Magic, and hey, that might not be a bad idea when building lineups tonight. Probably takes a lot of injuries, right, before those guys get attractive. And of course, they were losing, but before the All-Star break, right, when they were running those 8-man lineups, I was seeing a lot of Magic in the core plays, but they've magically disappeared as of late. So nor Orlando on the core sheet lately. Over at runpuresports.com. Promo code GetBets. Join it. Atlanta Hawks are in Indiana taking on the Pacers. The Atlanta Hawks strong road favorite here, -8 here. Total 236.5. Pacers are plus 293 on the money line. If you want to get wild, I do not. I think Indiana's probably the team that is like, you talk about the tank. They seem to be like tanking the hardest. And, we'll go over this again, right? We've said it a million times. It's not the players out there that are tanking, right? It's the front office and the coaching staff that do it by either not playing their best rotations. If you're the coach and you're coming back, which I don't even know if Carlisle's coming back. My guess is he might move on. I don't know if he signed up for a rebuild. I kind of thought that his idea was he was going to move Brogdon and Sabonis and Turner into the playoffs, and then injuries kind of derailed that idea. But the other way they do it, right, is in the trainer's room, and it looks like they've done it again here tonight with Isaiah Jackson, Chris Duarte, and Malcolm Brogdon all sitting. Goga Batazde is questionable. That means absolutely nothing to me as a handicapper. Dwayne Washington, questionable. Same thing on my handicap. Doesn't mean a lot. I think it means something for you, Title, though, when you're looking at who you want to put in this game here. But, by holding these guys out, the Pacers are saying, they haven't been in the lottery for so many years. They finally got a chance. They want to get a top pick here. Some of these games are tough. If I'm going to go against one of these tanking teams, though, at the big numbers, it feels like the Indiana Pacers are the right side. They had that interesting experience. I think that was on Saturday night right there in Toronto. Some speaker catches on fire. The game looked like it's going to be canceled. They end up bringing them all back on the court. Guys looked like they didn't even want to be there after the delay, and I think they ended up losing by 40. Off the top of my head, I think it was 131-91, right? So the Pacers are definitely struggling. Now Atlanta, who's another team that's really been up and down the season and needs the win, gets a chance to take advantage of that in Indiana. Tyler, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to side with Atlanta here. I think they definitely pick up the win. I think if you're going to bet it, I like the idea of just taking them like a -18 or 19.5, like Robert said in the chat, and getting better value because they're probably going to blow this team out. The player performance doubles, some of them are priced out, like we the people said. Like Clint Capella's double-double and wins plus 140. You're kind of banking on him getting the minutes he got last game, which he's been really hit or miss. The only one maybe I'd take a stab on is Herter over 4+ threes and win. Because you're getting that at like plus 480. He has hit 4 threes in a lot of these recent games. There's really no guards that can play defense on Indiana outside of Halliburton, and he's going to be on Trae Young. So Buddy Hield's not going to stop him. If he gets hot from 3, he could definitely hit 4.
All right, Tyler, liking some red velvet tonight. Titletown, what do you think?
Well, this game's really interesting for like DFS and even like Kevin Herter threes and that because Gallo and Bogdanović are questionable. And if those two are out, Herter becomes a lot better play. The overs look a lot better. And Trae Young, he would even have the ball in his hand more than he otherwise would. I think Trey, yeah, I agree. I love picking on Indiana. I like Tyrese's defense for sure. But with Trey up top, it's so much pick and roll where I think Trey's going to chuck. The minutes are up there. They're trying to win. Indiana doesn't play much defense. I could see him going for like 30 plus in a win. Probably a pretty good plus number. I don't have it on me, but I think that would be interesting. I just think Atlanta is better. Indiana's not trying to win. Atlanta is. And it'll be interesting. Yeah, Goga, Dwayne Washington. Yeah, Goga doesn't mean too much. For betting, he definitely doesn't mean. For DFS, he means a little more. Maybe Jalen Smith would slide into the starting center spot. He is priced up a little bit. But for DFS, like if Gallo, Bogdanovich are both out, yeah, I mean, DeAndre Hunter gets a boost. Kevin Huerter, Justin Anderson is 4-7 on Indiana if Dwayne Washington stuff are ruled out. So this game's interesting for DFS. It could get better depending on the injury news shakes out.
Yeah, and Title, of course, in Sacramento, we were lamenting the loss of Tyrese Halliburton when he originally went to Indiana. He put up huge numbers there for his first 9 or 10 games. Been in a slump as of late. Is this a buy low opportunity, or does the price still reflect Tyrese Halliburton?
Well, it's more of a buy low on FanDuel where he's 7.5. DraftKings sells him up at 9.2.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, which is like what he was playing at like 2 weeks ago. Indiana was also still shorter. He was running out 38, 39 minutes. He had more usage than he does a little right now. So, like if you look at his past 4 games, 15, 21, 22, 23% usage. That just isn't numbers where you can sustain 9.2K. Even 7.5 is a little expensive. So not on my boy Tyrese, unfortunately.
Yeah, and obviously, like I said, I think they're just looking towards next year. I mean, what's the point, right? I mean, he's not the kid from Akron just putting up numbers in a meaningless loss. The Sacramento Kings. All right, my favorite team. Richie Smalls, they're staying. We're not moving them out of Sacramento, but they are in Miami tonight, taking on the Heat. Minus 13 here is the number. Total of 217. Plus 745 for the Kings if you want to get really crazy. But I mean, you might be worried about a visit and ended up in loony asylum if you place that bet. De'Aaron Fox is out. Sabonis is out. I don't know if those guys are even coming back for the whole season. But the rest of the injury reports clean for the Kings. But does it even matter, right? With the roster that they have here, PJ Tucker, Tyler Hero, and Gabe Vincent all questionable. So that does make the DFS breakdown tough for the Miami Heat. I don't know, Tyler. Like, I really don't know what to do with this game.
Yeah, I mean, as for the side, I got nothing. Miami's in
13. I mean, great job, bookmakers.
Yeah, you're not running the lay 13 with a team that's lost 4 in a row.
Yeah,
3 of those. One of those games was to the Knicks. 2 of those games were to G League lineups.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this team's clearly either trying to lose games or something's wrong.
Mm.
The Kings on the road are one of the worst teams in the league. You're not looking to back that. I don't mind the Bam double-double and win, like we the people said. But the only thing I'm going to look to bet in this game are Davion Mitchell props. With all those guys out, he's getting all the usage. His points plus assists is 23.5. His last couple games, 22-9, 25-7, 28-9, 12-2, 19-4. Like, he's covering most of those with just points. So I like that. Not even play his points, rebounds, and assists in the spot.
All right, Title. I mean, what do we do with this, right? Just another good job by the bookmakers here where they just made the price so unattractive that you don't want to take the favorite. But it's a team that it's like, if the Kings lost by 30, would you even blink an eye? No. Click right to the next game, right? I mean, it's just that's the way that this team is, and, hopefully Jimmy Butler and Eric Spoelstra weren't watching the Oscars together last night, right? But anyways, Title, how are you approaching this game?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can't pick a side. I lean the over 217 total, and I don't know. That's just the number stood out to me. The Kings absolutely suck. I think Miami can score a lot easier against this team than most, and I expect maybe the Heat are up by 30 or something. Then this game, the Kings just getting a little track meet. It's faster. Points are coming by both squads with backups or something. I don't know. 217, I lean the over a little bit, but again, not much merit behind that thought. I'm not picking a side at all. And as far as DFS, I mean, it's just kind of tough to play a game like this. If you want to play Bam at 8K, sure, but 12.5-point spread, totals low, 217 compared to the other games. Like, I think it's more of a cross-off game on a 9-game slate for DFS, so not much for me.
All right, yeah. What about if these guys are ruled out? who would become, let's say all three of them, well, Tucker doesn't matter, right? But Hero and Vincent would open up some usage at guard. Would you be looking to jam some heat in your lineups, or is that still like doesn't really matter to you?
Yeah, I mean, I still maybe a Bam or a Jimmy. I probably wouldn't even go Jimmy. Maybe Bam would get a little bump, but I'm still not sure that's going to move the needle. I mean, we have Jaylen Brown out, Tatum out. We already have injury stuff, and we're going to have injury stuff in more spots. So probably not, to be honest.
Okay, good to know, because I think the one thing that you guys are excellent at, coordinators that run Pure Sports, is planning these pivots. It's not just off the top of your head when you get the news. It's like a chess game, like, well, if this guy's ruled out, this guy takes this spot, So try to be cognizant of those when you're building the lineup. The next game, this is actually a fun game, Tyler. This is an old rivalry. It's the Chicago Bulls. They head to New York to take on the Knicks, one of the best rivalries of the 90s, right? And they're going to continue tonight. Surprisingly, I counted the Knicks out. When was it? When they lost to Atlanta. What was that, a week or two ago, right? And I said, they're done. It's over. Their season's over, blah, blah, blah. Technically, they're not yet eliminated from the playoffs, and they've been winning a lot of games as of late. So I don't know. That's what I get for counting them out, I guess. Now they're catching 3.5 at home against the Chicago Bulls team, who, let's be honest, isn't playing that well right now. And really, Lonzo Ball, I think he really meant so much to that team. Number one, setting up their offense, and number two, actually giving them a solid point of attack defender besides Alex Caruso, because right now I think you can just go away from whoever Caruso is guarding here. This is a tough one, but I do still kind of like the Bulls here. But it's tough kind of fading a team like the Knicks that have been playing such good basketball. Tyler, you're probably plugged in with your favorite team. How are you approaching this Knicks game?
Yeah, I mean, Knicks have been playing better. And I mean, I guess they're technically not eliminated from the playoffs, but you would need Atlanta to fall off a cliff in these last couple games.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. But you look where the Bulls sit, they're 3.5 games back of the 1 seed, but they're only 2 games out of the play-in.
The East is awesome this year.
They can't keep dropping these games that they should be winning, and this is one they should easily win. There's no guards really on the Knicks to stop Levine. He should walk in and drop 25 to 30 easy.
Not a big Alec Burks guy here.
No, he's not going to be able to stop Levine. DeMar DeRozan should have a nice game too. Vucevic should have a solid game. I like the Levine 25 plus and win at plus 210. You could even play the 30 plus or the 3+ threes and win. And then Vucevic, of course, double and win. And you could even do the 12 plus rebounds on him and win.
All right. And Titletown, right? A very clean injury report here in this game. Lonzo Ball still out. Quentin Grimes questionable, right? Which is great for us as handicappers and doing this show for content purposes, right? Because we know what we're getting. From a DFS side, I don't know if it helps as much, right? Because there's going to be no value and nothing for us to plan for. It's just take these guys what we get. And I know that neither the Knicks or the Bulls have really been popular teams amongst the coordinators this year, unless one of them is really decimated, which is not the case tonight. So go ahead and give your thoughts. Do you think the Bulls will beat the Knicks? And then how are you approaching this from DFS?
Yeah, I like Bulls minus 3.5. Yeah, like the Knicks. Technically, they probably could get in. Man, I'd be shocked to see if they really did get in. And as far as the Bulls, they need to win, and they're finally healthy with all their guys back. Their main guys back. Obviously, no Lonzo. He's been out for a while, but the DeRozan, Levine, Vooch are going to play together. I think 3.5 is a fine number. I think they get it done. As far as DFS, yeah, I mean, when you don't see when teams are healthy in late March on the injury report, pretty much just don't play them. So easy cross-off game.
All right, yeah, and I got no problems crossing that one off as well. If like DeRozan or Vukovic ends up beating you, so be it. But let's move on to another game. And this game, man, so when I was prepping for the show, I thought this is going to be so much fun. Not so much, though. First, the injury, and then I wonder if the injury had something to do with, these other guys that kind of have balky knees being pulled off. And I'm talking about, J&J, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, both scratched out for the game. This was not the case when this line opened, because it opened around -4, moved to -5. Maybe people were getting rumblings or whatever. It went all the way out to 8. Now back to 7.5, a little bit of buyback there. And I can see why that is. Total 209 plus 278. And that's because the Celtics have been playing great team basketball. This is a team that knows how to defend, and if they can just absorb the loss on the offensive side, they can keep it close with an Toronto Raptors team that I personally have had really problems handicapping after the All-Star break. I felt like before the All-Star break, they were one of the most sure things as far as minutes, how they performed, consistent effort every night, keeping it really close to the spread. And then after the break, they've just been all over the place. That a lot of times, they're 10 to 15 points off the closing line in the final score. Whether they win or lose, they look great some nights, look terrible other nights. So Toronto's been a really tough team for me. I really liked Boston when I thought these guys were in, and I was catching 4.5. Not necessarily the case now, but at least we have a pretty good idea of who's going to play on the Toronto side. I don't see Van Vliet's name on here, and he's meant so much to him. OG Anunoby is back. Gary Trent still questionable. I don't know, Tyler. I guess I would grab the points here because I don't trust the Raptors, but I don't love it like I did when I thought we were getting our good guys playing. What are you doing with this one?
No, I think Boston's punting this game, so give me Toronto here. I think they run them off the floor. They beat them by 15 to 20. I mean, what else are you going to do? There's no Horford. There's no Tatum. There's no Brown. Williams is now out. Your only starter playing is Marcus Smart. Maybe him and Derek White put up good games, but I still don't think it's enough to keep this game close. Like, they're going to be pretty small in the front court, too. Like, these guys, Barnes, Siakam, they should absolutely feast in the front court. And OG's been shooting the ball well since he came back. So I know we don't have much stats to go off with the Boston missing all their guys because they just haven't been in the spot all year. But give me Toronto here. I like Siakam 25+ and win, Van Fleet 8+ assists and win, and the OG Anunoby 3+ threes and win.
All right. So, Title, you kind of alluded to it earlier. Tell me your thoughts on the spread, but then, of course, right, this game is the highway to value town, right? How do we approach it?
Yeah, I'll start with the side. I mean, at first I was like, man, Boston play defense, they're pretty well coached, maybe like 8 points, that's a lot. But then you look at it, like who's coming off the bench for them? Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett, Nick Stauskas. Like, man, these guys are not good. You go to Toronto, they play their starters big minutes. They're now finally healthy. Fred VanVleet, OG, Scotty Barnes, Siakam, Boucher, Achua. Like, I just don't see this Boston squad being able to compete with Toronto. I mean, at the end of the day, when this team's fully healthy, they got guys that are good basketball players. They're athletic. It's just a total mismatch, in my opinion. So then I went back, and I think Toronto's definitely the side there. So fine with 8-8. Think you can take with Siakam, whatever Tyler said with the props to win. I think that's good too. But I still think they do run them off the floor. But DFS-wise and betting-wise is completely different because for Toronto, the prices are up. Siakam 9-3, Van Vliet 8-8. I mean, all these guys are expensive, so I don't have interest in them. As far as Boston, 4 of their 5 starters out, you know who's going to play. Marcus Smart, 6K. I mean, you can literally play any of these guys. Smart, 6K. Derek White, 5-3. Daniel Tice going to start 3-7. There's Peyton Pritchard, 3-9. Neesmith, 3K. Grant Williams, 4-4. Like, you can play any of those guys. I'd probably not. I mean, I doubt would I play 5 in tournaments for sure. I think 5 would be too many. I think you're limiting your upside a little bit. I think 4 is fine. I think 3 is fine. 2 might be a little thin. I at least have 2 in my lineup. So 2 to 4 is probably how I'd build. But yeah, I mean, they're just cheap. It gets you Jokic and other studs, and you know they're going to get minutes, so it's hard to ignore.
All right. Yeah. I think that's pretty cool that you're able to get there tonight. I tell you what, that news shook me, man. I thought we were going to get a good game. I thought at least one of them would play, but, maybe Taylor's right. Maybe they are completely punting. How do you do that, though? When you're in first place and fourth place is half game behind. So, but hey, what do I know? It's part of the grind of the regular season, which we won't spend any more time on whether or not it's a good grind or a bad grind. We'll talk about a team that's definitely suffering from the grind as well, the Golden State Warriors. But Title, am I right that these guys were known that they were going to be out when they made the prices, or is there value here for the Warriors?
Let me check. Let's see. Golden State. Yeah. So Kuminga's the one that stands out at 4.4K.
Oh, that's huge. So he's going to be like, what, 60% owned?
Well, the thing is, because we have the Boston value, the 4-4 price tag is good, but it's not going to be like he's just the smash and you have to play him because we have Boston too. If there was no Boston injury news, he would for sure be probably that. But now with the news, I don't think so.
Less than 50% then, maybe 40.
Yeah,
Okay,
I would say definitely less than 50.
I love Jonathan Kuminga's game. I think he's going to be a huge star. And I've even said, I can't even wait till 3 or 4 years from now when Steph's kind of older and he's just in that Ray Allen mode, right? And Kuminga's like the real star of the team. I think the Warriors are doing a great job, right? Hashtag light years, but they're not doing a great job tonight because they are 11-point underdogs to the Memphis Grizzlies. And another one, I can't believe they're punting this game. Go back to the standings here. Let me scroll over here. Memphis is, I guess they're 4 games ahead of Golden State now. But still, they got to watch out, man. Dallas is right behind them. I guess they don't care about 4 or 5 here. I would if I were them, but, I am not. But, yeah, they are punting this game. I mean, I think it's really hard to look at a Warriors money line here. You could make an argument for plus 11 that I would listen to. These Santa Cruz Warriors, as I call them, did get that win against Miami straight up when the spread was, I think, even more. I think it was 13 in that game. But I don't know, Tyler. Grizzlies are so good, 17-2 without Ja Morant. What are you thinking?
Yeah, definitely just going to side with the Grizzlies here. The Golden State's punting this game. But I see Joey's in our chat, and he's saying 50-plus likes on this video will give away a free autograph card tonight via TikTok on his break channel. So definitely get those likes up for everybody who's into the cards. But as for this game spread, just like I said, I think Memphis rolls them. Golden State's punting. You could do the Adams double-double and win because we seen Clint Capella go out there last game against the Warriors and absolutely dominate them. I think Adams could do the same thing right here. I like the Bane 5+ assists because he's been playing a lot more facilitator role with no Ja Morant and win. And then I also like his 20+ points and win. But there's no way I'm backing Golden State right here.
All right. And maybe I was wrong here about Kuminga being a great play. Look at what Lockhart said. This is from Bart Lockhart. Said he started the last 2 games and only played 14 minutes. So excuse me for missing that. I have had a lot of eyes on the tennis. Boy, that's really surprising. What do you make of that, Title?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm trying to pull up his game log now. It's going a little slow, but I did not know that, and that is very interesting because when Boston is going to get the minutes, the past 2 games, 13 minutes, 14 minutes, 29, 19. Interesting. I have not watched either of those games. I'm not sure why that's the case. 20% usage in all of them. Yeah, I mean, because I expect him to get the spot start. If he's playing 25+ minutes, like I would definitely want to play him. His usage is there. He can grab some rebounds. He's a good basketball player. So I'm a little concerned with that. I'm going to ask the guys on the Up to Lock show or the Hardwood show next about that because that's very interesting. And I do not know the answer, to be honest with you. As far as the rest of the game or from the betting, I like what Tyler was saying about taking the Desmond Bane, either 20+, 5 assists plus, and the win. I think Memphis rolls them today. It's a really good basketball team, well coached, even with Ja and stuff out. They're just really good basketball players. I think Desmond Bane's a complete stud. He is doing more facilitating. He's drawing more of the eyes from the defense, and I think he'll find the open shooters. They make him. So I think the 20 points and the 5 assists, you take all of that with Desmond Bane to get it done. As far as DFS-wise, outside of Kuminga, though, and now I have to look into that a little bit, I just don't have interest in this game, really. Tyus Jones, if you want to play him at 5'8", I guess. Jordan Poole, 8'1". I don't know if I want to get there. It's an expensive price.
Seems like it's inappropriate. I would say appropriate, right?
It is. I agree for sure.
Might be around the average of points per dollar there.
Yeah. That's why I think he's in play. I'm not sure. If you look at, he's playing all the minutes in the world, 39, 38, 39, 39, 30. Like he's getting the minutes, what you want for sure. The usage is there, 32, 32, 27, 30, 28. But I just not sure he has like 60+ point ceiling in a matchup like this against Memphis. That's the only concern. We're on a 9-game slate. Jokic could go for 85, and you'll just absolutely need that or something where I'm just not sure the 60+ point upside's there. But it's an appropriate price tag for sure. He's in play.
And what's one of the reasons that Memphis is 17-2 without Morant? Number one, they're going to need Morant in the playoffs. So let's just ditch this idea that they're better without him. But the defense gets a little better. The defense does get a little better when he's off, right?
But I don't want to hear anyone saying that they're better without Ja Morant. I don't know.
And I'm not saying that at all.
No, I know. I don't know if there are people out there that actually say that. I hope
mean,
not.
It's Twitter. You can find any ridiculous comment in the whole world on Twitter. So maybe I need to spend a little less time scrolling and taking those opinions seriously. But I have heard that being thrown around. I mean, when you're 17-2 without the guy, right? I can understand why you want to be controversial or try and get some engagement. But to me, that's the wrong way to do it. Tyler, anything more on this one before we move on?
No, just an interesting question for you guys. Just because
Right.
the MVP odds don't reflect it. I know John Morant's higher than Devin Booker, but if you took Devin Booker off the Suns, I think it means more than when you take John Morant off Memphis. I don't think Phoenix posts a record like Memphis has right now without Ja. I think those MVP odds should be flipped. What do you guys think?
So if the Suns didn't have Booker,
If Booker had to go out, like just put the shoes that are on Ja right now on Booker. He has to go out for this period of time.
You don't think they'd be 52 and 23?
No.
Yeah, I think that's I'd probably still say they are, just because I think Chris Paul. I just like the whole organization of the Suns. I think they're deep, but I don't know. You definitely could be right. That's.
I mean, you just look at some of the numbers the guy's been putting up lately, like 30 points every game. In the first quarter, he's putting up like 20 plus. I think he means more to Phoenix than John Morant means to Memphis.
I also think D-Book's like better. Like I think Deep like so then.
I agree there too. I think Devin Booker definitely.
I
better.
do.
Booker's better than John Morant.
I definitely think so.
JSU, if you're watching, I will send you a link right now. JSU, if he's watching this, is like, oh.
I mean, I literally compared D-Book's game to Kobe's. So like, I think Booker is better than almost probably anybody out there. I really think so. I'm biased on that.
No, I mean, and it's great. And at the end of the day, right, you'd want both of them on your team, right? As a Kings fan, we've never seen a player of either of their caliber, since pre-2005. So it's not like you can go wrong with either. But wow, those are some hot takes. Not what I expected.
I think John Morant's the funner player to watch, but Booker's the better basketball player.
Yeah, and chat seems to agree with you. But Tyler, remind me that we got to bring this back up on Thursday with JSU, because I think that we're going to get one of the all-time. You
better set your alarm. You better give him 15 minutes.
15-minute argument.
Well, that's why we have them on Thursday with the 5-game slate, so we can spend like 20 minutes a game and still not run into the Hardwood Live Show, brought to you by RunPureSports.com. Promo code GetBets. Join it. The San Antonio Spurs are in Houston taking on the Rockets, plus 8.5 here. Total of 233.5, plus 327 for the Rockets. I don't know. If you're going to throw one of those stupid money lines that I brought up, Tyler, why would it not be this one, right?
I'm gonna stop you right there, Spread.
Okay.
This game right here means the most when you look at standings. The Spurs win this game, they tie with the Lakers, and they take that last play-in spot. They own the tiebreaker. Mm-hmm. They're going to run Houston off the floor tonight because this game actually means something to them. And you look at the Lakers' rest of the schedule, they have a tough schedule to finish off. The Spurs are going to steal this last play-in spot. This game means a lot. They're going to pick up this win right here.
Yeah, I mean, my only counter would be that both the Spurs and the Lakers haven't shown much interest here in this plan, right? The Spurs have sat key players in other games that they need to win. And I think they're another team like the Pacers that's like, man, we haven't got a lottery pick for a long time. Well, I'm actually that one last year, right? But that was their first one in a long time. Maybe they're trying to rebuild, right? So, okay, but you make a great point. On the aspect of the game, though, don't you think that the Rockets have a nice little matchup here, right? I mean, they can score with the Spurs. I know the Rockets don't play defense, but the Spurs defense isn't that good either. If this turns into an up and down scoring battle, it seems like the Rockets would have the firepower to keep this close. But you're not on that case, huh?
No, I think Popovich sees it now. Like, I think before it was all developed players, and then this door opened where he can knock the Lakers out of the playoffs.
He does hate the Lakers too.
Exactly. That's another reason why he's going to want this.
He hates them more than I do.
He hates the Lakers so much he could see them taking that last spot right here from them. Yeah. He's going to play the hell out of his guys these last couple games, Spread.
All right. Okay. Well, hey, I hope you're right. I hope you are right. So, Tyler, I kind of like the Rockets, but Tyler gave me some good reasons that is a foolhardy bet. Where do you land on that, and how are you approaching this one from DFS?
I was leaning your side, Spread, but Tyler definitely convinced me, and it didn't take much.
He's a convincing kid.
He is. So yeah, I'm definitely I'm definitely all in on the Spurs now. Tyler's all right there. And as far as DFS, man, if you think they're gonna DeJounte gets 40 minutes today, 11K, no one's gonna play him really. I'll play DeJounte at 40 minutes against the Rockets that I love picking on. So now I even have a little more interest in this game because Tyler thinks the minutes will be there. It makes sense with the playoffs and the play-in games. if you want to go like the Keldon Johnson 6'7", I think you can even do that and then be fine because this Rockets team they don't play defense. Anyone can score against them. And yeah, I mean, 233 total. I like what Tyler said. So give me the Spurs on the side, and now I have a little interest, and I bumped up these Spurs a little bit in DFS.
How about Podol?
Oh, I always am a Jakob Poeltl. Let's see what his price. 6'6" Jakob Poeltl. Yeah, that is very, very intriguing to me for DFS too. Always love Jakob
Christian
Poeltl.
Wood's questionable too, so he could absolutely feast on that front court if he's out.
Even if he plays, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter if he's in there, but if he's out, there's nobody.
Yeah, Sengun, I don't even know who the thing is, Jakob Poeltl regardless is going to be someone I definitely like for that price tag.
You just trash spreads guy. Wasn't too happy about that.
No, I mean, I admit he's a terrible defender.
Who's Sengun?
Yeah,
I love Sengun.
Yeah, no, I didn't know about the defense. I really didn't.
Oh, he's not good.
Yeah, I didn't think so, but no, I think his offensive game. I'm with you, Spread. I think he could be pretty solid in this league.
Yeah, I think he could be like a forward version of Jokic.
The league's just changing, so he has to be.
But he can operate out of the high post and be fine. I mean, he doesn't need.
He doesn't pass he's not like what, the Dollar Tree version of Jokic.
He's at least like Target or Costco.
No, that's Sabonis.
Yeah, Sabonis is sitting at Target. It's Sengun is
Dollar Tree. We're gonna revisit this in 4 years, Title.
Well, 4 years he might work his way up
20 and 10, and
4 years he might work his way up to Costco, but he ain't getting past Costco compared to Jokic.
All right. I didn't know I was going to be hearing some Sengun slander today, but that's the way things go here on the NBA Rundown. Brought to you by Run Pure Sports. Promo code GetBets. Join it. Oklahoma City Thunder -1.5 against the Portland Trailblazers. Total of 223. Tyler, if I could put gifts on here, do we just Jimmy Butler this?
Yeah, I got nothing. You could have ended the show with just completely just skipping this game spread. I got nothing on this.
You want to just slander Sengun some more then?
I mean, we can go there. We can find some other stuff to talk about, but I got nothing for this matchup. I'm not putting $1 on this game.
All right. And we did talk about luxury places to buy your items. But in DFS Title, you do not have the luxury of just completely crossing games off. Like we do on the betting side, because, this could be a high scoring game. There could be a guy that breaks the slate. There could be some value that we are not aware of. So from a DFS perspective, how are you approaching this game?
You want to read the injury report on both teams, since I have to in an hour and it takes a little while, so then I can talk about it in DFS spread?
Yeah, real quick. Jeremiah Robinson Earl is here. Darius Baisley doubtful. Shea's out. Josh Hart's out. Trendon Watford's out. Why would you even arrest him? Whatever. Didi Lozada's out. Justice Winslow's out. I mean, they should that's every day of his career. And Greg Brown is doubtful here. I mean, boy, talk about G League matchup here.
I'm seeing both squads with 9 players, 4 off the bench. You don't always see that in March. And of those players, you're talking about guys like this Kellen Balvin's guy, like these guys that really should not be up in the NBA right now. And then you have a 1.5 point spread. You have to have interest in this game for DFS wise, and it's very interesting. Like what, the most expensive guy in this game is Brandon Williams 6'9". You're not going to go there, but Poku 5'9", Trey Mann 5'8". Give me all the Poku, give me all the Trey Mann, give me all the Keon Johnson on Portland, all the Maladone on OKC, Chris Dunn for Portland. Like, you have to have interest in this game. There's CJ Ellaby at 4'6", Aaron Wiggins 3'9". Like, if I have to rank them, because you can play so many of these guys, Maladone's definitely my favorite 4'5" starting point guard. I think he's a very, very elite play. Trey Mann 5'8". He's going to chuck it. He has upside. Love that price tag. Poku 5'9". Those are my 3 favorite OKC guys. Like, you can play Lindy Waters at 3'6". He's shooting guard, small forward eligible. As far as the Portland side, Keon Johnson, he started last game. I think he starts again, and if he does at 3'9", you have to have interest. Chris Dunn 4'4", Ellaby 4'6", Greg Brown 4'1". Like, I'm playing these guys. I like the OKC side a little more, but it's hard not to play these guys. And this is another spot where you can go for value. But like Trey Mann is value at 5'8", because he could put up 50 today at 5.8K. They just have no one. He's going to play all the minutes. So value on whether it's not like the 3K Celtics guys for some of these guys. They're still very good. Their price tags aren't appropriate with the situation they're in. So have to have interest as the late night hammer.
All right. I mean, I think it makes a lot of fun, right? And that's where DFS is really cool because, like I said, just from betting or just from a fan's perspective, there's no way you're really tuning into this game unless you're like related to one of the players. You know, you went to high school with them. You're like, oh, that's my boy out there. You know, but
I guess Greg Brown's doubtful too. So that's
I listed him off. He is
less body. Yeah, exactly. So man.
There's gonna be more talent on the floor in that Kansas Duke championship game next Monday than on the floor tonight in this game.
So you're calling the championship game is gonna be Kansas Duke, huh, Tyler?
Lost one of their best scorers. He tore his Achilles. I don't think they're beating Kansas.
I saw that. Yeah.
What about UNC and Duke? What about Jordan Love gonna do something?
Wouldn't that be the biggest kick in the nuts? Your worst arch rival your whole career takes your last home game from you and then kicks you out of the tournament.
Yeah, it's possible, man. It's possible.
It's definitely possible, but I think Duke's guys are just – Paulo's been playing good. I told you guys I love A.J. Griffin as the best player in this draft. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be them in Kansas.
All right. Look at Tyler giving out a bonus bet there on the college basketball street. So you never know what you're going to get here on the NBA Rundown. But there's one thing you do know you're going to get, and that's Gregory Russo's favorite segment. It's time for the best bets, side total or prop. Tyler, start with you.
I'm just going to go with a couple props today. Give me the Jokic over 40.5 points plus rebounds, and give me over 23.5 points plus assists on Davion Mitchell.
I love this. See, look at that. We the people. I mean, Richie Smalls, we're giving the Kings some love here. The Sacramento Kings, right? Smash that like and keep the Kings in sack. Tyler, what do you got? Best bet for today, side total or prop?
Tyler, what's that Desmond Bane points and win?
There's 20 plus and win and about like plus 120.
Yeah, Desmond Bane and win plus 120, my favorite bet.
That's a great number. And then you don't have to worry about that point spread there. I'm going to go, and unfortunately, Tyler, right, I'm going to have to fade your favorite team. I'm going to take the Chicago Bulls on the road. As you know, and this one was tough, right? I think that if the Knicks weren't playing so well, this line would have been about 5.5. But you look, you know, especially if you're like me and you have a last 5 there in your model, it's going to make the Knicks seem closer than it really is. So let's just go to the actual matchup of the game. And Tyler brought some great points up on how the Knicks are going to have problems stopping the Bulls outside with Levine as well as inside with Vukovic. So the ability to score on both levels, I think, is going to be the difference in tonight's game. Give me the Chicago Bulls minus 3.5. Tyler, it seems like there's some great opportunities here, though, on the way that you like to use those player performance doubles in the parlays. I think those are a lot more attractive tonight than I'd say just trying to bet these sides. What do you got for us?
I mean, look, I say we just swing for the fences today.
I mean, that every day. I mean, what are we doing today then?
I mean,
trying to hit it out of the park.
They don't have
into the ocean.
They don't have that was the point. They don't have the performance doubles up in the Spurs game. I was going to say Jokic triple double and win at plus 370. Murray triple double and win for the Spurs, and then coming back with like a Levine 30 plus and win for Chicago. Let me plug the 2 in and see what those do, and then we'll just have to wait and get that line later on.
All right, so it's going to have to be, you have to get the, you know, he told you what the play is going to be, but Tyler will put it up with the exact number in the run.
Yeah, just the Jokic and Levine 2-leg parlay pays 25-1. Yeah. Once you plug in that Murray triple double and win also, that's going to be a nice ticket.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's got a good chance tonight. I mean, Denver's in a good spot. Murray needs this win too. And then Levine in the Garden, he could put up a huge number against these guards.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really good that you put it in the Discord every day, right? Because some people are at work right now. They're really busy with their job, right? Some people, you know, their mistress only comes over at lunchtime, so they can't watch the show live, but they can still jump in the Discord and grab the parlay, even if they're not here with us on the show. Title, man, I was so excited when I got the message that you were jumping back on. It was so fun to hang out again. I know we got to be pretty quick because you're going on double duty today, and what a great hardworking job that you do. But you want to give people the words of wisdom before we sign off and let them know all the content you're producing for Run Pure Sports this week.
Well, I always love coming on here, Spread, talking basketball. You, Tyler, you guys do a great job every single day. So, hey, it was really cool to see because when we first started doing this, when I hopped on, we didn't have nearly as many people watching as right now. I mean, now I see over 100 people watching. Hit the like button for you guys, and you guys work so hard. So it's really cool to see that. Appreciate you having me on. I'll be on the Hardwood on the Run Pure Sports side, YouTube in 15 minutes. Joined by DC and Mangone. 9-game slate. We'll break it down like we always do. Should be a lot of fun. And yeah, it's all Deer District season's coming up. I'm very excited for that. I will be back home for the Deer District ride, and I hope it goes as well as it did last year.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, man, I wasn't sure if I was going to go back on that Bucks train, but the way that things are playing out, especially last night, man, it really feels like the Bucks have a great opportunity here. And I'm with you, man. Even though the standings don't say it, the team I'm worried the most about is the Nets, and they might not even have to play them.
Yeah, I know. I'm so nervous about the Nets.
You don't want to be in that play-in. That's one game. If Kyrie's cold or he gets the wrong brand of incense or sage before the game, I mean, everything.
Did you see all the tweets last night? They were saying he was playing like he was vaccinated in his first game back. I was like,
no, I missed that. I was too busy watching the mad Jim Ross and Stone Cold Steve Austin music to the Oscars. So I missed that great one. So everybody, thank you for joining us. Like Title said, we're doing this every day. Give it to you for free. Just like the video. Hey, share it with your friends.
Did we get up to 50 likes?
43.
Oh, 43. They came up short, so
that's too bad.
Joey's not giving away that autograph card then.
That's too bad. All right. Well, we will try again tomorrow. We'll be back with Travis Mangone to be discussing all the revenge that the NBA will be having. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and Run Pure.